Namaskar friends, subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're gonna start with your quantitative aptitude class, that is your class 152. We had done your 151th class of the session, where in that we had done 13 topic, that is your partnership. This is your 14th topic, that is chain rule. Now we're gonna start with your 51th question of this chain rule, and we had done in the last classes about the indirect proportion and the direct proportion. So you can go ahead for the same. If you are not able to, you can go with and you will be ending it up. We'll surely be ending it up within 1 and 2 classes of this, and we'll start with another topic in the next coming classes. So before starting with this, it's a huge request to all the viewers to please go ahead with like, share and subscribe, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. The question of the session is: in a camp, 95 men had a provisions for 200 days. After 5 days, 30 men left the camp. For how many days will the remaining food last now? The options were 180, 285, 139, 16 by 19, and none of these. So we go for the same. In a camp, 95 men had provision for 200 days. After 5 days, 30 men left the camp. For how many days? Will the remaining food last now? That is what we have. Let's find out the solution for the same, and that has been as follows. Let the remaining food will last for X days. And last for X days. So 95 men had provision for 195 days. 65 men had provision provisions for X days. Less men, more days. This is indirect proportion. So 65 ratio 95, 195 ratio X, which will be 65 into X equals to 95 into 195. That is X equals to 95 into 195 upon 65. It is equals to 285. Now we talk for the next question. That is what we have to talk on. which is 52th question of the session that what we'll have to discuss here. The question is, a garrison of 500 men had provisions for 27 days. After 3 days, a reinforcement of 300 men arrived. For how many more days will the remaining food last now? The options is 15, 16, 17, 1/2 and 18. Let's find it out. So we go for the next 52th question. A garrison of 500 men had provisions for 27 days. After 3 days, a reinforcement of 300 men arrived. For how many more days? Will the remaining food last now? Options were 15, 16, 17, 1/2 and 18. So we go for the same. Let the remaining food will last for X days. Last for X days. That is 500 men. Had provisions for 27 minus 3 equals to 24 days. $500 plus 300 men had provision for X days. More men, less days. That is indirect proportion. 800 ratio 500 24 ratio X will be 800 into X equals to 500 into 24. X equals to 500 into 24 upon 800. 0 we can cancel it out. 8 ones are 8. 3 is a 24. 5 3s are 15. So we get the answer 15 here. Now we go for the next one, which is being the 53rd question of the session. So the question we have: a garrison had a provision for a certain number of days. After 10 days, 1/5 of the men desert, and it is found that the provision will now last just as long as before. How long was that day? So So as I told you the questions here, which has been the 53rd question, and as I told you, let's go for the same, where that is, a garrison has a provision for a certain number of days. After 10 days, 1/5 of the men desert, and it is found that the provision will not last for as long as before. How was that here? So the options we have 15 days, 25 days, 35 days and 50 days. So we go for the same. A garrison had provision for a certain number of days after 10 days. One by 5 of the men desert, and it is found that the provision will now last just as long as before. How long was that? "15 days, 25 days, 35 days and 50 days. We go for the same. So initially, let there be X men having food for Y days. Let there be X men having food for Y days. After 10 days, X men had food for Y minus 10 days. Also X minus X by 5 men had food for Y days. So Y minus 10 equal to is xy minus 50x equals to 0. X y minus 50 equals to 0. So y minus 50 equals to 0 and y equals to 50. Let's go with 54th question of the session here. So 54th question of the session we have here, that is 15 men take 21 days of 8 hours each to do a piece of work. How many days of 6 hours each would 21 women take if 3 women do as much work as 2 men? So here we go for the same. The options is 18, 20, 25 and 30. Let's find it out the solution for the same, which is 54th question of the session. The question is 15 men take 21 days of 8 hours each to do a piece of work. How many days? Of 6 hours each would 21 women takes. If 3 women do as much work as 2 men. Let's find it out. So here 3 women equals to 2 men. So 21 women equals to 14 men. Less men, more days, which is indirect proportion. Less hours per day, more days, indirect proportion. Men hours per day. It will be 21:X. Now further we solve this. X equals to 50 into 8 into 21 upon 14 into 6. 7 2s are 14, 7 3s are 21, 2 1s are 2, 2 4s are 8, and that is 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, 3 and 3 cancel. So 15 2s are, you know very well, that is 30. We'll get the answer 30. So required number of days is equals to 30. Okay, now we go further, which we'll talk here. That has been another is 55th question of the session. So here we go. A contractor undertook to do a certain piece of work in 9 days. He employed certain number of men, but 6 of them being absent from the very first day. The rest could finish the work in 15 days. The number of men originally employed were Option is 12, 15, 18 and 24. So we go for the same here. And that we have as follows. A contractor undertook to do a certain piece of work in 9 days. He employed certain, so with the same here, and that will be going ahead. So a contractor, for that we have talk about it, and that is on the 9 days. So further, he employed certain number of men but 6 of them being absent, from the very first day, the rest could finish the work the rest could finish the work in 15 days. The number of men originally employed were, options were 12, 15, 18 and 24. So we go for the same. Let there be X men at the beginning. So less men, more days, that is indirect proportion. So 15 ratio 9, x ratio x minus 6. 15 x minus 6 equals to 9x. 6x equals to 90 and x equals to 50. That we have as an answer. Now we go for the next one, which has been another question, is the 56th question of the session, and that we have: a contractor undertakes to do a piece of work in 40 days. He engages 100 men at the beginning and 100 more after 35 days, and he completes the work in the stipulated time. If he had not engaged the additional men, how many days behind schedule would it be finished? So the options were 3, 5, 6 or 9. Let's find it out. A contractor undertakes to do a piece of work in 40 days. He engages 100 men at the beginning and 100 more after 35 days. and completes the work in stipulated time if he had not engaged the additional men how many days behind schedule would it be? Finished. Options, as I told you, 3, 5, 6 and 9, so we go for the same. Hundred into 35 plus 200 into 5. Men can finish the work in 1 day. Now 4,500 men can finish the work in 1 day. 100 men can finish it in 4,500 upon 100, that is mean 45 days. This is 5 days behind schedule. So this is 5 days behind schedule. Now we go for the next one, which is your 57th question of the session. And the question for the same, we have a contractor employed 30 men to do a piece of work in 38 days, where after 25 days he employed 5 men more and the work was finished 1 day earlier. How many days we would that he would have been behind if he had not employed additional men? The options were 1 by 1, 1 by 4, 1 3 by 4 and 1 by 2. Let's go for the same here. A contractor employed 30 men to do a in 30 days. After 25 days, he employed 5 men more. He employed 5 men more and the work was finished 1 day earlier. how many days he would have been behind if he had not employed additional men. So we both are the same. After 25 days, 35 men complete the work in 12 days. Thus, 35 men can finish the remaining work in 12 days. So 30 men can do it in 12 into 35 whole upon 30. 5 6 is 30, 5 7 is 35, 6 1 is 6, 6 2 is 12, so 7 2 is 14, so 14 days, which is 1 day behind. Okay, so which is 1 day behind. Okay, so now we go further, which we'll talk about it, but that we'll discuss in the next coming class. So here we're gonna end up with this. Thank you. Hope you enjoy this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on a comment box. Please like, share and subscribe our channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and even though you can also enjoy the video as well. So here we gonna end up with this, and as I told you that all the questions were very important when you are solving all these type of questions related to it, and that is which is 1 day behind that what we find it out. So other than that, we had done your chemistry for class 11, which is also been important one, and that is we had completed your we had started with the chemistry part 2, and even though we are dealing with your physics part 1 for class 11, we are dealing with computer based numerical and statistical technique. We had done your reasoning, which is verbal reasoning and the non-verbal reasoning. Coming towards your quantitative aptitude, yes, this has been divided into two sections, which is your arithmetical ability and the data interpretation. In arithmetical ability, we had done your numbers, SCF and LCF of numbers, decimal fractions, simplifications, square roots and cube roots, averages, problems on numbers, terms on ages, salts and indices, percentage, profit and loss, ratio and proportion, partnership, chain rule. That is in the 14th topic. After completing that, we'll discuss time and work, pipe and cistern, time and distance, problems on train, boards and steams, allegations on mixture, simple interest, compound interest, logarithm, area, volume and surface area, races and games of skills, calendar, clock, stocks and shares, permutation and combination. Then we'll discuss about probability to discount, bankers discount, height and distance, odd and off series. In data interpretation, we have to cover up the tabulations, bar graphs, pie charts and line graphs. So here we're gonna end up with. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion on the comment box. Thank you.